What's up, everyone? It's Torque. I'm here joined by my good buddy, Dump, owner of the Chicago Bears and the SML this cycle. Dump, how's it going, my man?
Man, it's going good. The Bears are off to a 3-0 start. Final season. Lots of things to be happy about.
Absolutely. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. Let's just go ahead and kick this bad boy off. Last season of the cycle, obviously, you weren't here to start the cycle, so you didn't get to pick this Bears team. Luckily for you, one, I think the Bears typically, whether the owner is subpar or a good owner, you had Gutta who's built teams well in the past. How's it been kind of navigating what he's started with to where you are now?
Yeah, I think Gutta left them in a solid spot. I wouldn't say he did anything spectacular. He had some solid pieces that he added, but on the other hand, he didn't nuke it. He had
Right.
situations like yourself. You come in with Pittsburgh, and the team's just blown apart. So
Not very good for
he
the
kind of
start
kept
either.
things. Yeah, that too. But he kept things together. Everything was smooth, and I've been able to add some pieces and kind of, I'd say, put it in a good spot. I wouldn't say I have an amazing team, but I have a really good team.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, walking in, and this just kind of was something else I wanted to cover. You walked in arguably the toughest division in the NFC, right? I mean, it's you, Prime, Damon, and who else is in there?
It's Coop now, but it was Johnny when I came
Right.
in.
So, tough division there. And Coops actually played people closer here as of late when he's able to play his games. Uh, but yeah, going into that, the jump from, and let's talk about this a little bit, and you're kind of seeing it with 8-1 having to play Soda last night, who I would say is a pretty good playoff, should be in the playoffs year in guy. Um, or compete in it. And we kind of saw what that happens. What's been the biggest jump in your opinion? And you've had some stints now in the SML and in Prime, going from Primer, where you played well, made some runs, versus coming into the SML again.
Um, I think I spoke about this on the show before. I'm trying to remember. I know the first thing I think about is in SML, all 32 members are engaged heavily. Primer, you kind of have maybe 15 to 20 guys that are like gunning to get called up. The rest are kind of just there playing, enjoying the time.
Right.
Um, SML, everyone's trying to win. Everyone's trying to get us some party. We have a ton of film watchers. We got guys in streams, and then in the primary, you don't really get that. There's a lot of instability. So I'd just say studying tendencies and knowing people.
And
I feel like in a primer,
tons of information like
knowing,
spread across the SML. I mean, if you got a peek at
yes,
the DMs, you would see people joking, chatting tips on Dump or tips on Torque, when in reality, that's happening behind the scenes in a lot of DMs. I think I've been a testament to that, where I kind of found something that worked for a little bit, and now guys that have beaten are playing me closer, uh, or two are just beating me. I think the Bomber game is a prime example last season. Um, I beat Bomber the first matchup. Second matchup, he absolutely blows me out, and that's just a testament. One, he's a good player, but two, information gets spread like wildfire in the SML. Your gameplay style, how you're going to attack somebody, and what you're going to do. And it happened to me against him as well. First time I played Matt, blew him out. Second time he was ready for some seams and some other things where he made some really good user plays on me. But yeah, I think you just get more. I don't. I guess. I guess it's safe to say football knowledge. I guess so to say everyone's more engaged with how you're going to attack them defensively, offensively. So yeah, I like that you said that. It's a real jump, whether 8-1 wants to admit it or not. People have film, watch film, and he's a film watcher too, but notes get passed around, and then I think the most unspoken thing about it is the built-in pressure. If you don't perform, you have 31 other guys waiting to just wear you out.
Yeah, the chat and SML is a lot more ruthless than Primer, and I would definitely say it's not a place that you want to put a target on your back. I definitely wouldn't want to come to the league saying I'm going to beat 90% of the league and I'm better than 90% of the league. So when you don't do that, you're definitely going to hear about it. It's kind of setting yourself up for failure. I think I talked about that the other night. Guys that do that don't have a good history or track record in the SML staying around. I think the pressure gets to them, and they fade out. Look at the Conks, the Dukies, Larry Legend. There's been a ton of guys that came in hot, talking, and it never ends up good.
Right. And I think, one thing, sustainability, right? And I think that's something that Prime looks at, right? Uh, as a league, do you want to deal with these people consistently? And I'm not saying that in 8-1 specific. I'm just thinking of people in the past that have been in the SML where um, I should be the whole I should be beating this guy because I know football better than him. Well, buddy, it's a video game, right? Like not everything's going to work out just because you know football better than someone, or oh, I know how to bust cover three. I should be beat. It's a video game, man. Like that's why we're here, right? If that were the case, we would have all went and been coaches. I mean, in college and calling
Right.
and like scheming things out, right? But we're playing a video game here. There are some dynamics that are in the game that aren't in real life. Like you're gonna throw it through some guy's head times, or the guy's not gonna animate. It happens, it's just part of it. But I wanted to go into another topic, and it's kind of a topic that has kind of been like brought up, and it got brought up against me the other night with me and Bombers game. I saw it once last season with Doink and Tiny. Um, what do you think the fine line is between running up the score or maybe like scoring late or like, like, because me personally, like, I'll just call a spade a spade. Like, I had a hard time. Like, if Bomber gets the ball, I'm down four, or he's down four at that point. If Bomber gets the ball back in this match, I think he beats me there. I really do, because one, I think it's a testament to how good of a player he is, and with his clock management, and he has three timeouts. I know he didn't call a timeout necessarily there, but I'm thinking in my head, if I kick three here, go up seven, and he has three timeouts left in this match, he's probably going to score on me. I didn't get to see the whole Tiny and Doink situation, but I know it was a similar instance, right, where Doink essentially called out Tiny for running up the score, which I think was a little different instance. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely think it's definitely a gray area. But I think if you're less than two scores and they have two timeouts and there's always that chance of the win, I think it's okay to score. Obviously, it's not okay if you're up 28 points, less
Right,
than 2 minutes, they got three timeouts, like, don't score. But if there's a situation where they could decide to take their timeouts, get the ball back, score, onside, score again, I think it's safe to score.
right,
Um, I mean, odds of them winning that way are low, but like you said, in this Madden, especially how offensive it is,
right.
it's not impossible. I remember I played RD, I can't remember, it was a few cycles ago, but I'm down like 13 or 14. I think I was down 14, like a minute some left. Called my timeouts. He punted it to me. I returned a punt for a touchdown, and then I kicked it onside. I got the ball back with like a minute left, drove down, scored, and I went for two, and I'm winning the game. So,
Right.
I
So
mean, it's
these
never
things
over
happen.
if yeah, you're within two scores. Like, it's really never over. So, I don't think anyone can get mad at you. I think when someone can get mad at you if you're up 28 points, something
Right.
crazy, that comes to sportsmanship. But if it's a close game, I think you can't be mad at your opponent for, especially this Madden.
Right, yeah, and I think this mattered more than anything. I think we've seen like a lot of just weird stuff happen, especially updates to updates. I was talking about it in chat yesterday where like RF's playoff run to the Super Bowl, I think he forced like 4 or 5 fumbles in that run. Like it was insane, you know. And then this update, we have running backs that are breaking 3 or 4 tackles and getting a speed boost and taking it to the house. It just happens. I had it last night against Straw where he runs a zig route from his own 30, he breaks a tackle, speed boost, touchdown. Like he scored with the guy 2 plays into the game. Like it's hard to stop. You know, offense is hard to stop in this game. But um, I think the other unspoken thing too is like, you know, not that you have to go in and defend yourself by any means, but like, you know, like I'm not afraid to say like, hey, like Bomber, like you know, I told him straight up, like, I'm not that guy. Like, I'm not gonna run. I'm not good enough. One, to run up the score on anybody. Two, I'm not gonna do it. You know, I'm not gonna break a rule to break a rule. You know, when it's right there in front of me. I know the kind of player he is. I know that if he gets the ball back with seven, like down seven with 3 timeouts, he's probably gonna at least tie it or win it. And if we go to OT, there's a really good chance that the odds start playing in his favor with some of these better guys. I've had it happen to me in previous cycles playing guys like Dan, um, um, Prime, who just manage the clock so well with their timeouts. And I've gone to knee a game out against Dan, and he strategically called timeouts to where he got the ball back and went down and kicked a field goal to beat me. So those things kind of just haunt me, I guess. But I thought it was a topic that was kind of appropriate to bring up, just that it's been in the topics of chat twice now in relatively close periods of time. But the next topic I wanted to go into was what what are you playing for right now, Dump? Like, you know, I mean, obviously you haven't won the Sombardi yet, and you've won Sombardis in the past. You know, I've seen some guys kind of lay down. You know, I've seen it in Damon with the downfall of Damon. Kind of seen it with Eddie. Two guys who well, Eddie's made her to the Super Bowl, and Damon's consistently a playoff contender in my opinion when he's at his best and can make a run and potentially win a Sombardi. What's kind of keeping you going right now? What's keeping the fire lit?
Obviously, trying to beat Prime in the NFC. No one's done it, so that's a little bit of motivation. Do I think I'll do it? The odds are probably low, but it's worth a try. And then I think coming back to cycle a little late to give me a little fire as well. Trying to reestablish myself in the SML and climb back to the top. And lastly, it's just like being a natural competitor. I don't think I could ever be a guy that tanks or, you know, calls it early. I'm going to play
Right.
to the end every time and get it done.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, I'm enjoying the fact that this late in the cycle, there's so much still out there for a lot of people. I mean, you look at Dan. This could be Dan's first cycle without a Simpardi. That's a huge storyline going into the playoffs. You have Bomber, who could easily win another and just cement himself as the clear number 2 player for the cycle behind Prime. And really, I think for him that would be huge momentum going into next cycle, especially where it seems like he's going to take the Browns, in my opinion. You know, you have a Sombardi to fight for. Straw is playing really well, who's you know went from being the second best player in the AFC North to now he hadn't won a playoff or he's won one playoff game or no playoff games, I think. Where if he can get on a roll, you know how Straw is. He's dynamic. He's a good offensive player. There's just so many storylines out there. Soda's playing well. Stavo, what is Stavo doing? You know what I mean? Like, I just enjoy the fact that, yeah, we can say it's the summer, this, that, and the other, but dude, there's like 8 or 9 storylines out there that are worth following this season late in the cycle. And I don't know if you get that in any other leagues.
Yeah, there's definitely storylines, and one that I'll throw in that I'm shooting for is I want to make another deep run so I can have a shot at being top 10 for the cycle.
Yeah,
I think I'm on the cusp. I've had some good playoff wins. 2-0 versus Stavo in the playoffs. Beat Steele in the playoffs. It's funny because they mentioned Steele's name is top 10 player, one of the best. I think I'm outperformed him, but I'm always in the shadows for some reason. I feel like I get as much love, so that keeps a chip on my shoulder.
Right. So, do you feel like do you feel like the only way you will be top 10 is if you beat Prime, or is if you or do you feel like if you make another deep run like you're talking about wanting to do, then that's enough to be top 10?
I think if I was the guy that beat Prime in the playoffs, I think that would cement me in the top 10. Maybe depending on what round it was in.
Right.
I think if I make it to an NFC title again, since I have won before, or make it to a Super Bowl, I think that would establish myself. And making a Super Bowl would mean most likely I beat Prime unless something crazy happened. But yeah, I think I'm one good run away from having a good argument to be in there.
Well, the good news is you got one shot at it, so you get to be all in. But yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit. We mentioned top 10 players of the cycle, and this is kind of the last topic we'll cover before we wrap this up. But you know, the top 10 guys in the cycle. I think it's a clear cut 1, 2, with Prime being one, Bob two. But for me, it's where do we get from 3 to 10? And I think there's a lot of names out there. What are your thoughts on let's just call it top five? Who are your top five uh, players so far cycle since you've been back?
Top five, like you said, Prime and Bomber, definitely easily shoe-ins 1 and 2. Prime being one, Bomber being two. I feel like you got to throw Dan in there. Consistently one, he's made it some good runs. I know his last 2 years he's kind of fizzled out in the playoffs, losing first round, but it doesn't take away from his entirety. I don't know if I put him at three, but I definitely put him in top five. Four, I think you got to go KP just because he won the Lombardi. I know he's been up and down.
That's been a hot topic too, and it's
Yeah,
crazy that you're putting KP at four because if you talk to a lot of the guys out there, they don't have KP in the top five. They have him on the cusp of the top 10, just because of how some of those middle seasons have gone. But you know, if you look at KP's track record, so to say, and who he has to match up with, he's in the division with Dan. He's on the AFC side, and you can say what you want about the AFC, but I mean, you got to play QP, at least a few times a cycle. You're going to play Bomber, and you're going to play Tug and the Raider fans, and some of these guys who are really, I don't think necessarily great matchups for KP. But if you go in and look at the playoffs, and he's trending as of late, he made the playoffs dominantly last season, where he kind of just pulled away from a late race at the end. And now I'd say he's playing pretty well once again. Um, he had the weird loss to Eddie, and that weird funky run where Eddie, I think it was the field goal, home field advantage, where KP missed a field goal. But like even last season, was it Tug that beat him, or Slice?
I think it might have been Slice. I can't remember for sure,
Yeah, so he's had
but
just some weird matchups, like just that I don't think favor him necessarily, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he has a Simbardi. I think people are so quick to throw that, but they're so quick to bring it up in the defense of of something, right?
right. And I just say like who's had a better cycle than there's guys that have been making playoffs every year, but there's not a guy that's made the Super Bowl consistently
Right.
because it's been Prime and Bomber or Prime and Dan. Is there a? I guess we might have had a weird AFC the one year. I mean, you made the
Conference
championship
championship. Yeah, with
versus
Eddie.
Eddie though,
Yeah.
but I mean, no offense to y'all, it's like been
No,
all
no,
over.
it's
So
hey,
like,
I'm a
who do you?
realist, man.
Yeah,
But that's a
like
one-off. I mean, that's a
like who do you put above that's been consistently? high level. You know,
Right. I
I
agree.
think I think it's kind of been. I said this before, and this makes it hard for top five. It's like this has been the least parody in any Madden cycle I've seen in SML. You know, it's Prime, it's Bomber, it's Dan, and the guy's going to make a run and get to the conference championship. But as far as Simbardi games, been the same people, same few people. So it's
Right.
like it's even hard to say a top five. Like it's a battle for fifth spot, in my opinion. I think
Right.
KP gets there because he won one, and Dan's been very consistent in making runs.
Yeah, I would say
Five
Dan.
spot is a huge debate.
I was about to say, I feel like 5 to 10 is like, hey man, like who's surging now? Like you're gonna have to. It's gonna be fun to go back and dig deep into it, and kind of, I'm sure Bomber and a few other guys will get their spreadsheets out and start, really pulling the data out for us. It'd be kind of fun to do that and vote on it and all that. It'd be really cool. Um,
Yeah, I'd say sleeper AJ. I think AJ's had a few NFC
yeah,
championships. First Prime. Raider fan had an early run, but he's kind of faded away a little bit. He's been solid. I'm not saying he's been bad, but you think about Stavo, but he
and then
hasn't made any
you
runs.
look at QP, like as of late, like you take like the tanking
Yeah,
allegation, right? And then after that, I mean, he's been playing well. He's won that division twice now.
yeah.
I think
And
it's
he
been pretty
struggled when he
consistent.
first came back. So it's like, has he had a complete consistent cycle to be fifth?
Right, and that's
There's
what
no one that has, in
what's
my
gonna
opinion.
what's gonna have more weight? Is it the early stuff? Is it the middle? Is it the late? Like, is it who's surging? I'm eager to see how they kind of siphon through all that and pick it, because it's, to me, it's still kind of wide open. If you surge late, it could be. You just never know. Well, look, we're at 22-minute mark. We're gonna wrap this thing up. That way we don't bore anybody to death with a 30-minute show. But Dump, thanks for joining me, man. I enjoy it always. For those of you that don't know, Dump's the reason I'm in the SML in the first place. So it's always awesome to get a mentor and a friend on a show, and hopefully this is only the start of something fun. So I'm Torque. It's my man Dump right here. We appreciate y'all for hopping on Torque's Table Talk, and we'll be another episode here soon with another guest. So thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Love the show. Finish this
Appreciate
season
it.
strong.